Good evening. My name is Sean McQuaid, and I have been honored to be the Vice President for the Class of 2020 over the course of our senior year. First and foremost, I hope that all members of the SHS community are staying safe and healthy during these uncertain times. While we want nothing more than to be together as a class tonight, it is imperative that we do our best to avoid the risks associated with social gatherings. Nevertheless, we appreciate you tuning in to tonight's commemoration, and we will do our best to honor our class in the way that it deserves. On behalf of the class officers, we would like to thank the school committee, Dr. Sawyer, our administration, our teachers and staff, our class advisors, and the class of 2020 and their families for their patience, guidance, and support throughout these incredible 4 years. To the class of 2020, congratulations. Though we've undoubtedly been exposed to our fair share of adversity, we have worked hard to overcome it. Whether it has been through preparing for a big test, practicing for an important game, staying late for a rehearsal, or meticulously adjusting the angle of your camera on Zoom to convince your classmates your room is not a mess, we have risen to the many challenges that have come our way. As we move on to college or into the workforce or military, we will carry with us these valuable lessons of hard work, dedication, and perseverance we have learned throughout our journey here at SHS. Tonight is an opportunity to look back and appreciate the relationships we have built, the skills we have developed, and the experiences we will cherish from our time together. Now, I would like to introduce our next speaker. Aside from being an outstanding class treasurer for all 4 years of high school, Thomas Pitney has been an active role model in the school community. His sincerity, pragmatism, and dedication to the class is second to none. It has been an absolute pleasure working alongside him and growing as friends this past year, and is something that I am incredibly thankful for. With that, I would like to welcome Thomas Pitney.
Thank you, Sean, and congratulations to everyone for making it to Commemoration. My name is Thomas Pitney, and I'm honored to have been your class treasurer these past 4 years. When I think back 4 years ago, when we started at Shrewsbury High, never in my wildest dreams did I think that Commemoration would be anywhere but Mechanics Hall and that graduation would be anywhere but the DCU Center. But then again, nothing over the last few months seems normal. A virtual commemoration and graduation are certainly a first. And while it's somewhat disappointing, I think we must embrace it. After all, our class is no stranger to firsts. Since middle school, we have been leaders, innovators, or some could even say guinea pigs. We have been tasked with succeeding in new environments and setting examples for future classes. We were the first fifth grade class to be issued iPads. We were the first class to move into the new Sherwood building. We were the first, and fortunately one of the only, classes to take the PARCC test. We were the first class of more than 500 students. We were the first class to go to school for less than 180 days and somehow still graduate. As the world came to a complete standstill, so did our GPAs, for better or worse. We attended class in pajamas from the comfort of our couches and beds, and we were the first class to dutifully and diligently complete homework, striving to achieve that ever-elusive pass grade. I would like to think that our teachers and administrators saw in us an adaptability, a willingness to learn and try new things, and to persevere even in uncharted waters. Whether successful or not, we have risen to every challenge. In high school, we have all seen something new and have set a positive example for future students to follow. When esports was introduced during our junior year, students in our class led us to 2 state championships. Those in the spring musical performed just as well to their socially distant audience this year. In the fall of our senior year, sports teams adjusted to not having night games due to Triple E. Even our senior cookout was an early day event. In the rain. Looking back, those actually seem like the good old days. Despite each and every one of these challenges, we found ways to unite and be successful. Collectively, we turned difficulties into opportunities and adversities into successes. When we look back at the challenges over the last 4 years, there are many parallels to the COVID-19 pandemic that have impacted us all. Like with iPads, EEE, and esports, there is no playbook. How our class handles this challenge, however, will be used as an example in the future. Again, we are tasked with paving the way. Let's embrace this challenge like we have all those we've faced in the past. Let's put into practice the skills of perseverance, creative thinking, kindness, and empathy that we've honed over the last few years and rise to the challenge. Let's choose to celebrate. Let others look back and say the class of 2020 was a class act that refused to lose. Our class has always found the silver lining. Today is no different. Instead of being crammed into uncomfortable seats at Mechanics Hall, we relive memories from comfortable seats, wearing sweatpants or pajamas, and even enjoying a snack or beverage of our choice. We can pause the celebration and actually explain inside jokes to our families this year. Although in isolation, we are not isolated. We are a class. Most people say that when they look back on their high school days, they don't necessarily remember graduation day. They remember the friends, the activities, the laughs, and the teachers and administrators who impacted their lives. That will be true for us as well. We will remember the important things. Unlike everyone else, however, we will remember this day during this pandemic because it too is a first. But, as we always do, let's look back with satisfaction at a job well done. As the late, great Dr. Seuss once said, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Thank you.
When I was first assigned to write an introduction for our honorary guest speaker, Mr. Cicino, I was kind of nervous. Although I have never had him as an English teacher, I have always heard great things about him and obviously knew him because of his 1984 game. As I started to ask some of my classmates what came to mind when they thought of Mr. Cicino, everybody immediately had so many wonderful things to say. Mr. Cicino is a great teacher because he is incredibly passionate and dedicated to what he does. He genuinely enjoys what he's teaching, and more importantly, he enjoys watching other people learn. Mr. Cicino's students are always able to learn something new in class, whether it is related to English or not. This year, Mr. Cicino retires after an incredibly distinguished career at Shrewsbury High School. He has had a lasting impact on many of the members of our class, and we wish him a happy and healthy retirement. Please welcome tonight's honorary guest speaker, Mr. Cicino.
Caitlin, thank you very much. Class of 2020, hello. I am so honored to talk with you. I'd like to thank Dr. Sawyer, the Shrewsbury School Committee, Mr. Bazidlo, the SHS administration, the Class of 2020 officers and advisors, and of course, I congratulate all the seniors and their families. And with this year's coronavirus pandemic, I save my biggest thanks for all the essential workers who keep our community running, especially all the brave healthcare workers. Thank you very, very much. And on a lighter note, I'd like to thank whoever had the crazy idea that I should give this talk. Now, before I get fully underway, let's all agree on something right off the bat. Both you and I know exactly the number one reason why you're watching this. You're dying to know the answer that all of Shrewsbury is asking. During these 10 weeks of remote learning and all this time away from SHS, exactly how big, how bushy has Mr. Cicino's hair grown? Admit it, a lot of you are watching just to see it for yourselves. So I invite you now to take a good, long look. And don't forget the eyebrows. So that's settled. Some of you can tune out now. And no, it is not true that in my Zoom class meetings, I had to bob and duck my head just to fit it inside the Zoom screen. That rumor I flatly deny. And there is one more thing. Word has gotten around that I'm retiring this year after 37 years of teaching, with 31 of those years at SHS. Now that's not a rumor, it's the truth. Of course, it raises another question. Why has it taken me 31 years to leave SHS when it took the rest of you just 4? It doesn't quite seem fair, does it? Well, stick around, because by the end of this talk, you'll have your answer. So now that I've covered the urgent preliminaries, let's get this speech on the road. For these past 10 weeks of remote learning, many of you seniors have emailed me questions. Most of your questions have been subject-related, but a number of them have been, well, let's just call them unorthodox. From my busy email inbox, I'll share 3 of your questions here and now, along with my answers. Question number 1. This one comes signed by all 67 members of my senior honors classes, with whom I read George Orwell's quite important novel, 1984. But let's see, it's written by Liam Smith. Liam asks, Mr. Cicino, tell us the truth now. Are you Big Brother? Well, Liam, it's like this. Just like I've told you in class so many times, I'm not Big Brother. I'm just Big Brother's liaison. And now I hope that satisfies you. Let's move on to question number 2. This one comes from Caitlin Ferrante from my Period 5 class. She asks, Mr. Cicino, do you own the Panera at White City? Before the shutdown, my friends and I, and even my little sister, would see you at Panera practically every day after school doing paperwork, including on the weekends. Signed, Caitlin. Caitlin, thank you for your question. It's true that I am one of Panera's best customers. However, I don't yet own the franchise. But now that I think about it, down the road, who knows? And finally, question number 3. This one is from Arjun Shivakumar. Mr. Cicino, why is it that I sometimes see you outside your classroom between bells dancing in the hallway? Arjun, this is a very, very good question, and I don't deny it. I have danced in the English hallway. But for this question too, just like the earlier one, I think the answer will be clear by the end of my talk. So Arjun, be patient. You'll have your answer soon. Now, I teach English, and it's just not possible for an English teacher to give a talk without turning to literature. And for that reason, I'd like to share a poem by Emily Dickinson. Dickinson lived just down Route 9, about an hour west of here, in the village of Amherst. Although she wrote this poem a while ago, it speaks powerfully to the pandemic we have right now. In her poem, Dickinson talks about hope. Now, hope is one of those abstract emotions that can seem almost impossible to describe. It ranks up there with other intangibles, such as loneliness, fear, and even love. So how can Dickinson help us to see hope? I'd like to talk you through her lines, and then at the end, I'll say the complete poem. Dickinson decides to embody hope as a thing with feathers. She doesn't even directly call it a bird until line 9, as if even to name it will cause it to take fright and fly away. Birds do that, we know. Birds are fragile things, and so is hope. It's like that birthday ritual, you know, the one that says when you blow out the candles on your cake, you should never say out loud what you wished for. In other words, hoped for. Because if you do, your wish, your hope, won't come true. In effect, it will fly away. But Dickinson goes a step further. She doesn't even call this thing with feathers hope directly, but instead places the very word hope inside quotation marks like this, hope. This bird is that delicate, as soft and yielding as feathers. Here are the first two lines of her poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. Notice where hope takes a stand, in the soul. And what is the soul but that deepest, most fundamental core at the very center of who we are as human beings? When we hope, it's an act of faith. Right now, we don't know when the pandemic will pass, just like we don't know when the rules of social distance will be relaxed, or when life will go back to normal. But based on every historical precedent and with the best efforts of our scientists, we believe, we have faith that it will pass eventually. The entire scientific history of pandemics gives us every reason to hope. And let's keep this in mind. Science now is a whole lot better than science then. Let's go back to the poem. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. Hope is wordless. Again, you blow out your candles and then you shush. You keep silent. Notice too that hope sings. It's musical. Music is the language of the spirit. It sings, it soars, it lifts us skyward. Here's the second stanza. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could have bashed the little bird that kept so many warm. When do we need hope the most? In the toughest times, the stormiest times. The harder the storm, the greater the need. In that movie we all know, The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's last name is Gale, a word that means a very strong wind, just like the twister that carries Dorothy away. A sore storm is a painful storm, and hope is sweetest, in other words, most soothing, in the midst of pain. Today, on May 20th, as I give this talk, around the world, almost 300,000 of our fellow human beings have died from COVID-19, including over 91,000 Americans and almost 6,000 of our Massachusetts neighbors. So many families are in pain right now. We all want this pandemic to pass. That is our shared hope. Notice, too, the size of Dickinson's bird. It's little, but despite its small size, it sings without shame or embarrassment. It refuses to be abashed by the storm. In other words, it can't be bullied into bashfulness. This is one very tough bird to face down such a storm, and clearly it's up to the task. Dickinson's poem has one more stanza, and it's my favorite. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea. That's right. Hope keeps us warm and afloat in the coldest of times, in the deepest despair. What is the strangest sea? It is the deep, deep, expansive ocean that feels unfamiliar. We've never sailed it before. It can drown us if we let it. This pandemic feels bottomless. It stretches beyond the horizon. We can't see the end of it. On this ocean, hope is our lifeboat. Her last two lines go like this, and they're stunning. Yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. This tiny thing with feathers doesn't rely on us to fill the backyard bird feeder. In our direst, most extreme times of need, hope doesn't need us at all. We don't feed it. It feeds us. So it turns out this fragile bird is at the very same time the strongest of creatures, far stronger than we are without it. In fact, this bird, this faith, this hope, lies at the very root of our strength. So now, without interruption, I give you Emily Dickinson's full poem, and then I'll conclude. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. For you, my dear graduating seniors, I hope so many good things. At the top of my list, I hope that you and your families emerge from this pandemic safely, in the best of health, and with a deeper understanding of what matters most in life. And I hope that when you leave SHS, you have the courage to live your lives in accordance with your highest values. I hope these things for you and a whole lot more. And I believe in you. So I've reached the end of my talk. Now do you realize why it has taken me 31 years to leave SHS when it took you just 4? And Arjun, now do you know why you sometimes see me dancing in the hallway? Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but I've stuck around this long because I've enjoyed every year of it. And the number one reason why I've enjoyed it is you, the SHS students. Thank you for being who you are. Senior class of 2020, I look forward to graduating with you. 2020. It has a very nice ring to it. Thank you very much. And congratulations, seniors.
Thank you, Mr. Cicino, for the wholehearted speech. My name is Steve Astana, your class president. Our next speaker has undoubtedly played a huge role in our high school experience. She has always seen the full potential in us and has been the backbone to our class. She's cheered us on every year and has guided us to success. We will never forget the role she has played to our class and the Shrewsbury High School community. Please welcome our extraordinary grade administrator, Mrs. Monopoly.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, parents, family members, teachers, central office administration, members of the school committee, and of course, the members of the class of 2020. It is an honor to be able to speak to you tonight during your commemoration. While this is a very happy occasion because it marks the end of the students' high school experience, I must acknowledge how hard the end of the school year has been for all of us. We have not been able to see each other, and you have not been able to spend time with your friends or your teachers. I know that too many of you missed family weddings or the birth of a niece, nephew, or cousin. Members of the staff were there to hear about the happy news, but we know the sadness you felt by not being able to experience the joyous event directly. Too many of you lost loved ones recently and were unable to attend the funerals. And far too many of you had to grow up very quickly and volunteered to work full-time as essential workers while finishing high school to help your family pay bills or supplement the household income. We listened to your stories, we tried to support you, and we collectively learned the hard way not to take things for granted. My heart goes out to every one of you. But for everything that we have experienced since mid-March, writing the speech brought back a wave of happy memories of your high school experience. When the class of 2020 entered high school as freshmen, we did not know what to expect. We knew it was the largest class in the history of Shrewsbury schools, and we heard, I'll just say, stories. This was a big class, and there were a lot of personalities, and we really did not know what to expect. And over the next 4 years, you surprised us in every way possible. We realized that because there were so many of you, there were more of you to get involved. There were more ways to contribute to the school's academic or co-curricular activities, and more people to help positively shape our culture. The class of 2020 touched every facet of the school. When I became your grade administrator 3 years ago, I told you that I heard great things about your class. It started when you were freshmen. Teachers shared with me some of the projects that you completed. Then the stories continued when teachers let me know the ways you helped your classmates. Teachers noticed unsolicited acts of kindness between members of this class. They were small gestures, such as asking a shy student to join a group, or supporting a student who was going through a difficult time. But teachers noticed, sometimes very subtle, but thoughtful gestures. I knew right away when I became your grade administrator that you were a caring group of people, and it was clear from watching you in the lunchroom with your friends that you were a tight-knit group. Every single one of you helped continue the Shrewsbury High School story. It was during your freshman year that the football team played a championship game at Gillette Stadium, and many of you supported the team. What a great way to be introduced to SHS spirit. You continued that momentum throughout your 4 years here. You did what we asked you to do when you were freshmen. You got involved. Members of this class helped weave a strong social fabric at SHS and that focused on helping others. You collectively contributed to the community, whether through service learning projects assigned in classes or by following your passion and helping others in need. Members of your class were the first group of capstone students. Mrs. Trombley lovingly called you the original 10. As capstone students, you completed independent research and you explored your passions. Some of your projects became a reality. For example, Finn, the therapy dog, came to school because one of you knew it could positively impact all of the students here at SHS. While some members of the class of 2020 took advantage to shine through school offerings, other members championed local causes. We can thank members of this class for quickly organizing 2 separate fundraising campaigns for the families of 2 local fallen firefighters. You came up with a plan, you executed it, and you made a difference. Many pushed yourselves personally. Some of you broke school records. Some of you won individual awards or were nominated for various honor societies. Or you were speech and debate standouts. Your focus and commitment paid off. The majority of you, however, were part of a team or group that were so talented, you were so in sync, that you created fantastic memories for participants and spectators alike. You might have been a founding member of our unified sports teams, or maybe you joined the unified sports program once you saw how fun it was. Maybe you were a member of the new esports teams, or maybe your team made it to a championship game. Whether you participated in robotics or the Black History Club, your collaboration and contributions made a difference. Some of you were members of the fabulous Sea Wing cast or crews. Because of your talent, SHS received numerous Tammy nominations and awards. Whether you performed in a drama such as Our Town or performed in a hilarious musical such as Seussical, your collective talents made those performances unforgettable. You complemented each other. You included everyone. No one person overshadowed your class. You had multiple people who picked up the torch and who took the initiative to shine as leaders. You were excellent role models for the rest of the student body. So thank you, class of 2020. There are so many happy memories. We had a great time at the 50-day breakfast, and it was a fabulous chance to celebrate with all of you. But I have one extra memory. I snuck in and enjoyed the spectacular performance of the musical The Addams Family. Even though there was only a limited amount of people in the audience, you performed as if there was a packed house. We are so lucky to have such talented and dedicated students. The staff and administration knew how lucky we were to have you as students while you were here. I want you to all know that while we have been out of school, you were the first thing that I thought of when I woke up in the morning, and you were the last thing I thought of before I fell asleep. And so, members of the class of 2020, just as you happily surprised us at Shrewsbury High School when you arrived 4 years ago, I want you to do the same in the next phase of your life. Whether you go directly into the workforce, enter the military or college, continue to be selfless, continue to be gracious, continue to contribute to the greater good. We need people like you now more than ever. Good luck, class of 2020. I will miss you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce the class officers as they complete the class history, followed by the senior class video, which was completed by members of our ETS class. Please enjoy the next two segments of the program.
Good evening, class. Today, we will examine the riveting history of the color red. First off, before the year 0, a prophet named Moses led the Jewish people out of slavery in Egypt by literally separating the Red Sea so that he could walk through it. Later on, Sir Isaac Newton discovered the laws of gravity when a red apple fell on the ground. I guarantee that if this apple was green, he never would have discovered gravity. The iconic American restaurant, Red Lobster, was founded in March of 1968 in Lakeland, Florida. Boy, could I go for a colossal shrimp and salmon meal for the very low price of $25.99. Most importantly, a formidable group of students at Shrewsbury High School, called the Class of 2020, had red as their class color. These students improved every year of high school. They started freshman year with gigantic backpacks and actually thought that there was a pool on the 4th floor. This is why they finished last place in the class cup. By sophomore year, 2020 bounced back and came in 2nd place in the cup. By junior year, they were in 1st for 1 week. Nevertheless, they persisted through hours of homework, and by senior year, they were rewarded with a crushing victory in the class cup. After that,
Thomas, you're boring everyone.
Yeah, why don't we ever do anything fun in this class?
Yeah, let's play Jeopardy!
Perfect. Making Jeopardy games is one of my favorite pastimes. I even made one on the history of our class of 2020, reminiscing on the past 4 years of high school.
but I was just getting started.
I vote Jeopardy.
Me too.
Me 3.
Samesies! I'll be the Zoom host. Our first contestant is your class vice president. He's mean, he's lean, and he's a Jeopardy machine. Coming in at 6'2" and 140 pounds, Sean McQuaid.
Thanks for having me, Steve. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. Next, our class marshal and the most spirited member of the class of 2020. She was so ready to be marshal, it was already in her name, Victoria Marshall. The only thing he loves more than counting dollar bills is counting how many Jeopardy wins he has. Introducing your class treasurer, Thomas the Bulldog Pitney. Last but certainly not least, when she's not on the water, she's answering questions. Your class secretary, Caitlin Urbanik. Welcome. All right, Thomas, you go first.
Junior year, 100.
Thomas, this was the biggest loss of junior year.
Oh my God, I've got it. What is the App Store? Oh, I miss it dearly. All of those amazing games. RIP to Madden Mobile.
You are correct. Let's take a moment of silence to remember the App Store. All right, Thomas, back to you.
Sophomore year, 500.
This unique pair of shoes was popular in and outside of school.
Ooh, I've got it. What are ASICs?
You're wrong. You think that's cool?
Why, of course. I love going to Bob's and picking up wide ASICs on sale. Who doesn't?
All right, then. Sean?
Steve, what are Heelys?
At least someone's in with the times. Sean, let's go to you now.
Freshman year, 300.
This was the best dance of freshman year.
What is homecoming?
Correct, Sean. Although I do have a question. What is homecoming, actually? I've never heard of it.
Well, I was actually going to go to that, but they wouldn't let me wear my short shorts.
Sean, back to you.
I'll go with senior year, 300.
This was the best nighttime sporting event this fall.
Trick question, Steve. There were none.
Yes, sir, you're correct. Shout out Triple E. Sean, back to you.
Sophomore year, 100.
This was the most asked question of sophomore year.
What is your PSAT score?
Correct. Caitlin, back to you.
Sophomore year, 200.
All right, Caitlin, this was the biggest win during our sophomore year.
Oh, I know. What is the boys hockey team winning back-to-back state championships?
No, unfortunately, you're wrong, Caitlin.
What is a Fortnite Victory Royale?
Correct, Tori. At least someone here knows what's up. All right, Tori, back to you.
Sophomore year, 400.
All right, this was the event in which the teachers flexed their cooking skills.
What is the Super Bowl?
That would be correct. You love to see the food critics on stage. Tori, back to you.
Freshman year, 400.
The game that plagued the lunchroom during freshman year.
What is rock, paper, scissors?
Caitlin, once again, you are wrong.
What is water bottle flipping? Let me show you how it's done.
Correct. Tori, let's take it back to you now.
Junior year, 200.
Our junior class fundraiser.
What is it, bake sale?
Oh, you must have forgotten it was a hypnotist show. Did you forget because you were hypnotized?
No, it's because I wasn't there.
Just like everyone else, I guess. All right, Caitlin, let's go to you.
Junior year, 500.
The Apple product that got rid of our need for wires.
Easy. What are Tide Pods?
Tori, I don't think that's correct. Nice try, though.
What are AirPods?
You got it. I actually have a pair on me right now. Perfect to wear in the hallway. Not noticeable at all. All right, Caitlin, back to you.
Senior year, 500.
This was the most monumental social media event this year.
Easy. TikTok.
Tori, you're incorrect.
Ooh, I know. The creation of Dr. Sawyer's Instagram.
Correct, Thomas. All right, Thomas, back to you.
Senior year, 100.
This is the favorite senior week event.
Ooh, I've got it. What is senior week?
Good question. What is senior week? That one hurt a little bit up here. Thomas, back to you.
Freshman year, 500.
This is the great guy everyone met in math class.
Who is Mr. Moran?
Tori, you are wrong.
Got it. Who is Alex?
Thomas, you're brilliant. Sean, let's go to you now.
I'll go with sophomore year, 300.
The class of 2020 was the first to do this fundraiser.
What is the magic show?
No, wrong year, Sean. Tori?
What is the color run?
Correct. What a great fundraiser it was.
See, I disagree with you. I had to run during that one, so I didn't like it very much.
Tori, let's take it to you now.
Senior year 400.
One word to describe senior year.
What is Zoom?
You're right. It did go by fast.
No, Steve, I mean the app.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I didn't really go to any. All right, everyone, prepare yourselves for the final Jeopardy. I'm so excited. What will it be today? The topic is the future. Whoever answers this question right will be the winner. The question, the legacy of the class of 2020. Okay, let's see what everyone's answer was. Thomas?
What is having the longest senior skip day ever?
Unfortunately, that is not correct, but it's not wrong either. Tori?
What is 4 straight class cup victories?
That is certainly not right. Yikes. Sean?
What is the incredible cross-country team?
Nobody cares about cross country, Sean. I'm sorry. Caitlin?
What is the best class ever?
For the first time ever in Jeopardy history, Caitlin has answered a question correctly. Caitlin, you guessed it, and that wraps it up for us today. I'm Steve Astana, your host on Zoom, and we're signing out. Thank you.
Well, students, I hope you enjoyed your shenanigans. I hope you took something away from this lesson, even though I thought you would have learned a lot more from the intriguing lecture I had planned for you. All in all, though, you were the best students I've ever had. 2020, I say that class time is over.
Good evening, class of 2020. I'm Eva Wells.
I'm Kira Ward.
I'm Amneet Baga.
I'm Colleen McNamara.
I'm Cole Ackerman.
I'm Gavin Crouch.
I'm Sarah Berry. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm sorry that we can't all be here together to enjoy this moment.
The seniors in the TV studio have been really busy gathering photos and videos for this year's senior video.
Together, we have spent a lot of time planning to make this video something special for all of you.
After working on this video, I can't believe how time has flown by.
Just yesterday, you were getting on your first bus ride to school.
And now we are here finishing our time up at Shrewsbury High School.
We would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who's contributed in this project, from the staff and parents to the entire class of 2020.
And now we would like to present to you this year's class of 2020 senior video.
Enjoy!
Dylan, back tap. Class of 2020, I couldn't be more proud of you. As your superintendent and as a 2020 parent, I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to watch you grow over the past 14 years, from preschool through high school, into the accomplished young women and men you have become. I'm sorry that your senior year did not end in the way you had hoped, or as any of us would have imagined, but I know you are now stronger and more resilient because of it. I wish you the very best, and I hope that wherever you go and whatever you do, you will use what you've learned here in Shrewsbury to make a difference for others. Congratulations on becoming graduates of Shrewsbury High School.
Hey everyone, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being such an outstanding class. You certainly have left your legacy here at Shrewsbury High School by making a difference in the lives of others, and it's something that I hope you continue after you leave here. So congratulations, I wish you all the best, and we hope to see each other soon. Take care.
Hey seniors, congratulations, you made it. I'm so proud of all of you. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you for everything you contributed while you were at Shrewsbury High School. We'll miss your leadership, we'll miss your commitment, and we'll miss especially your smiling faces in the hallway. You're a really great group of people, and I wish you all the best in the next phase of your life. Be well, you'll be missed.
Hey seniors, it's hard to say goodbye to the class of 2020. You guys are one of my favorites. Refuse to lose. Best of luck. Bye.
Hi seniors, this is a farewell message to all of you. I hope that you have a great summer, and as you move on to your next endeavor, whether at college, the workforce, or the military, I wish you well. It's been a great 4 years working right along with you. And I know the end of the school year was not what it should have been for all of us, but just know that you're going to make a difference in the world. So please go forth, do what you need to do, be that shining light, and have fun. Wish you well. Take care, my friends.
Class of 2020, it sure has been a pleasure learning and laughing with you for the last 4 years. I wish you all the best. You got this.
Hi seniors, Mrs. Steinberg here. I'm so sorry we can't be together in person, but I just want you to know how much I love you, and I wish you all the very best that life has to hold in your futures. Love and hugs forever. Mwah.
Goodbye, class of 2020.
We wish you the best of luck in the future.
We're going to miss you.
And thank you for being the best class ever.
Refuse to lose.
Hi, my name is Victoria Marshall, and I am the Marshal for the class of 2020. Next fall, I will be attending UMass Amherst, where I will major in psychology with a minor in education. At this time, we would like to recognize our 4 advisors who worked tirelessly to help us plan all of our class events and fundraisers we've had. We are so grateful to have had such driven teachers to work alongside throughout the year. I am honored to introduce our first advisor, Ms. Blasioli. In addition to being an awesome math teacher, she is also a great leader who has personally helped me, as well as so many other students throughout the year. Ms. Blas has the biggest heart, and she genuinely cares about all of her students. She always brings a huge smile to the weekly meetings, and like a true math teacher, she always makes sure the class funds are in order. When things are getting off track, we can always count on Ms. Blas to get down to business, but share a few laughs along the way. I'm so pleased to recognize such a great advisor, Ms. Blasioli.
Throughout all 4 years of high school, this advisor has played a key role in the class of 2020 success. Whether it has been teaching anatomy students the art of dissection or organizing class events, Mrs. Carter's focus and attention to detail is appreciated by all of the students that she has interacted with. No matter the project, she always provided creative input from angles none of us had considered. This being my first year as a class officer, I had many questions. Mrs. Carter was always more than happy to answer them and ease the transition to my new role immensely. She is never afraid to tell you how it is, which always kept us on the right track when we needed direction. She is someone I and the rest of the class will miss dearly as we move on from SHS, but we will certainly not forget her. Thank you for everything, Mrs. Carter.
Our next advisor has truly made meaningful connections with many students in our class. Whether it simply be saying hi to us in the hallways or telling us stories about her son Owen and her daughter Sydney, Ms. Steinberg went out of her way to be approachable and supportive of every student. As a student in her 10th grade English class, which also happened to be my first year as a class officer, Ms. Steinberg was always there to guide me and keep a positive attitude no matter the situation we faced. As many of you who took American Studies or another class with her may also recognize, Ms. Steinberg was always empathetic and understanding, as she sympathized with issues we may have had. For all of her support to the entire class and the class officers, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Steinberg for all of her guidance these past 4 years.
I am honored to thank our 4th advisor, Ms. Tody. By working alongside her over the last 4 years, I have come to know Ms. Tody well. Her fantastic work ethic has not only made her a great advisor, but she is also an outstanding role model for all of us. At each and every one of our class events, Ms. Tody was always the first to arrive and the last to leave. Her dedication, perseverance, and willingness to work hard was exhibited when she led our class's Color Run fundraiser during our sophomore year. Through her hard work and dedication, Ms. Tody was able to help us overcome the challenges that came with hosting the first ever Color Run at Shrewsbury High School. Thanks to Ms. Tody, this fundraiser was a huge success, which, fortunately for me, made my job a lot easier, and it has continued to raise money for future classes. Ms. Tody not only demonstrated her determination through her actions, but she also pushed each of the class officers to work harder and improve. Please join me in thanking Ms. Tody for being such an outstanding advisor.
Lastly, I would like to recognize our great administrator, Mrs. Monopoly, a person who has played a substantial role throughout our high school experience. Although we only had her as a grade administrator for 3 years, from the moment she became our vice principal sophomore year, Mrs. Monopoly was all in on the class of 2020. Her enthusiasm and dedication to this class inspired, motivated, and challenged us all to be the best versions of ourselves. When it came to the class cup, her competitive energy was second to none, and it has been an honor being able to work with her over the past 3 years. We wish we could deliver our thanks in person, but on behalf of all the seniors, thank you, Mrs. Monopoly, for always seeing the full potential in our class and for everything you have done for the class of 2020.
Class of 2020. Thank you so much for being such a diverse group of students, leaders, teammates, athletes, actors, singers, musicians, speakers, artists, and most importantly, friends. Reflecting on the past 4 years of our lives, there are a lot of things that have happened. Every single day, we arrived at school, visited our friends, attended our classes, ate lunch together, practiced our sport, and then went to work or came home. Every single day, we made memories that we will have for a lifetime. I understand how difficult it must be to be watching this on television instead of being surrounded by all 501 of our fellow classmates and their families, but please know that we are all in this together. As I sat down to write my speech, I felt myself drawing a blank. Unable to come up with any ideas, I decided to go to my main source of information, Snapchat. My 1 year ago today memory was a funny video of my best friends laughing at the lunch table. I spent the next 3 hours searching through my camera roll, looking at all of my old photos and videos. I'm so happy I captured those moments in time, because that's exactly what I needed to kickstart my speech. It dawned on me that our individual moments help shape who we are as people, as well as our time at Shrewsbury High School. Our final memory together as the class of 2020 was our senior breakfast. That morning, I arrived at school around 6 and was helping to set up the juice, fruit, and pastries. The officers and I had just hung up the sign counting down the last 50 days of our high school experience. As seniors started to stream in, there were so many joyful faces coming into the commons, and it was exciting to be with you all on our last day of school. Instead of dwelling on the days we have lost, I encourage you to appreciate the days that we had. Thank you for our senior cookout. Thank you for our junior prom. Thank you for being a team player at the sports games and a spirited fan on the sidelines. Thank you for singing and playing beautiful music to people in the audience. Thank you for creating clubs and being a dedicated member to the ones you are passionate about. Thank you to the teachers who have helped us throughout the years, and thank you to all of you who showed up every day ready to learn. Each and every single one of you have had defining moments created at SHS that will stay with you for the rest of your lives. We came in with our huge freshman backpack filled with multiple binders, sat through grueling driver's ed classes trying our best not to doze off. We walked through the lunchroom avoiding the high tables because we didn't want the wrath of the upperclassmen. We worked our way from ensembles to lead roles in plays and musicals, and from twiggy freshmen unable to win in tug-of-war and playing on JV teams, to strong, confident seniors who dominate in spirit rallies and crush St. John's. We've experienced semi and prom, trying our best to perfect our hairdo and bow ties. Academically, we've achieved our goals by working towards graduation, whether that be striving towards honors and advanced placement classes, or by taking advantage of the work-study program and diving into the professional world. Now we are leaving with a slightly smaller backpack, but more importantly, experiences that we can never replicate again. All of these moments have contributed to our class of 2020 memories. Now think about your moment. Pick a time when you felt most proud of yourself and what made it so special. Feel the emotion of that memory and continue to take in every moment as you continue through life. We are a unique class and have been through a lot in the past couple of months. But if living through a pandemic has taught us anything at all, it has taught us that we are resilient. We are strong for pushing through online classes, Zoom calls, and trying to manage life at home. Every single morning, we get up and we have the choice to make the best of each day. As this chapter closes, another one opens for every single member in the class of 2020. We must now take all the skills we have learned and adapt to the new life we are about to embrace. Some of us will be taking on a college campus, others going into the workforce, and some entering the military. Wherever you go, know that Shrewsbury will always be your home and that the best moments were made here. Although we might not be together right now, and we have been through so much, take time to appreciate the people who have created your moments and take a minute to thank them. I want to thank all of you for being a part of my moments. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I miss you all dearly, but I will see you soon. Congratulations, class of 2020. You made it.